Please pray for me. Holy One, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord. Amen. In the mid-1800s, this country was changing so fast it would make your head spin. Young people moved in droves to the cities for work. The railroads carried the adventurous ones west. And middle-class families were in a precarious position. They were as likely to descend to poverty as they were to rise to wealth. In the midst of constant and wide-reaching change, folks were a little anxious. So it is no wonder that they looked to the home to be a secure and tranquil place, with the mother as the angel of the house, a pure spirit with endless patience and a moral standard far higher than any man's, whose sole focus was the well-being of her family. It's only human. In the late first century, 30, 40, 50 years after Jesus' time, the young Christian churches were struggling with internal conflicts, even as they were targeted as subversive troublemakers by the Roman authorities. So it is no wonder that the picture of the newborn church that is painted in Acts shows only harmony and goodwill. They wanted to look back to the early church as an ideal image of Christian community, when all were gathered together as one, sharing meals with glad and generous hearts, praising God, and having the goodwill of all the people. It's only human. When we are anxious, when times are tough, it's only human to want to have an ideal to hold on to. The urge to wash our memories clean of the grumbling or the worries or the pain so that we can hold on to them closer is only human. The desire to set people on pedestals so that we do not need to see their imperfections is only human. The longing to view our history through rose-colored glasses is only human. Yet, that longing to look back on a golden age can make the present seem more than a little tarnished. The act of giving others our ideals to carry can weigh them down. And when we judge ourselves against ideal standards, we see only lack and loss. That image of an ideal mother, and there's an ideal mother for every generation, has left many women with vague insecurity and at least a little self-doubt. And some of the churches that I visit around our conference ache with nostalgia for a time in the past when it was perfect. Human relationships are complicated and more than a little messy. How can it be otherwise? We are humans, after all, complicated beings and more than a little messy. We're capable of noble deeds and petty remarks, of sacrificial love and unexpected betrayals. We're often bewildered by our mixed emotions and by the strength of our longings pulsing just beneath the surface of our lives. And love, human love, is neither simple nor pure. But that doesn't mean that it is not powerful. Love does not need to fit a Hallmark card to be a blessing. Love blesses us not in the ideal, but as it is lived out in messy, complicated human relationships. And we, each of us and all of us, have been blessed beyond measure by the loved ones in our lives. And so, I invite you on this Mother's Day to a time of reflection on the power of love. Let me tell you how this is going to go. We will take about a minute of silence, and I would ask you to bring to awareness memories of your mother. And while many of us have one mother, others, I expect, have been mothered by more than one woman. After that minute, Patty and Liz will come forward, and I will invite you to come forward to take a carnation in honor of or in memory of your mother. You can come forward and return in silence. But if you will, I would ask you to come to the mic and share a word or a phrase telling how your mother has blessed you, or something that you particularly love about your mother. After you receive the flower, please return to your seats and remain open to the testimony in the words and to the beauty and power of the love that has shaped each of us, making us who we are. So let us take a minute in silence to call to mind blessings that our mothers have given us. Now I invite you forward. Resilience and strength.
A surprising sense of humor.
Raised two girls by herself in the 50s to 60s. My mother taught me to appreciate art and music and to love God.
Comedy.
The power of now.
Endurance. My mother taught me that every behavior of mine is by my choice.
Chocolate chip cookies. My mom remains the most giving and generous person I know.
Quoting a friend, my mother was a class act.
Read, garden, cook. Read. Unconditional love. Endless support.
Steadfast. To listen and join in harmony.
My mother always told me you can do anything you put your mind to.
Many years ago, my mother gave me a little ceramic plaque that we still have in our house. And it says, "God respects me when I work. He loves me when I sing."
And the flowers today are in memory of our mothers.
Constant support.
I would say sense of humor.
Be kind. She lived those words.
My mother's generous to a fault.
Devotion and strength.
The strength to fight cancer just like she did.
For my wife's mother, she was always a mother. And for my mother, if we were one serving short of dessert, she wasn't hungry.
She taught me to believe in the unseen.
Boundless compassion.
My mom was the best ever, and she told me to always do the best that I could always do.
Charlotte was a strong woman, and she was very strict.
Always so very reassuring.
Strength and hard work. Always generous.
Acceptance of all people. And chocolate chip cookies.
Compassion and oatmeal raisin cookies.
My mom passed on some mad skills to me.
Doesn't care what anybody else thinks. Just does it in her own crazy way.
Always looking out for what's best for me, even when I don't like it.
You could do it with perseverance and persistence.
How to listen to God's guidance and have faith that He will take us where He wants us to be.
My mom's one of the most practical people I know.
From two children's stories, slow and steady wins the race. And I think I can.
The best bread maker and artist I have ever known.
Fairness and open-mindedness.
A wonderful example on how to be a parent with a good balance between discipline and patience. And the lesson I always remember is the Lord helps those who help themselves.
My father died when I was a year old. My mother raised us and supported her parents.
Perseverance.
Mom was steady as a rock in times of emergencies. And she always had a stash of chocolate.
Endurance and love.
Always kind.
You have a word, Bobby?
A word from my mother. Love.
My mother taught me life is an adventure to be lived and not a problem to be solved.
Love you, Mom.
The gift of music and shoe fly pies.
The gift of hospitality and of music, of love, and good food.
Selfless, resilient, and a baker of pies.
My mom was kind of an activist, and she always said you should care about the whole community and not be a me and my son John person.
My mother has a great deal of strength.
I'll always
remember my mother for her canadles and dumplings.
My mom had the best sense of humor, and she taught that to me.
Optimism. My plaque says, good things are going to happen.
My mom kept our family on an even keel, and my dad's parishes, too.
My mom raised me as a single mother, and she's always been very selfless, even in her inability to cook.
My mother was brave.
My mother is the most caring person I know.
I don't know what to say.
Okay. And my mother is thoughtful. Courage and honesty. Gracious God, your blessings abound. We praise you for the love in our lives and give you thanks for the women who have mothered us. Amen.